our lesson for today, okay, student? So today we are going to talk about simple past, okay? Today we are going to talk about simple past. Today we are going to discuss when to use simple past and how to use simple past, okay, student? So when to use simple past? We use simple past to talk about a past and finished action at a certain moment of a period in the past, to talk about actions, to talk about something that happened in the past, okay? We use simple past to talk about anything that happened in the past, in a certain moment in the past, in a period of in the past, okay? So we use simple past to talk about actions, to talk about activities, to talk about something that happened in the past, okay? That happened in a certain moment in the past, okay, student? So here we have key words. Here we have key words, okay? Clues that tells us that you have to use simple past in the sentence, okay? So, for example, last week, last month, last year, okay? Or a week, a month, or a year ago, okay? Yesterday. For example, turn off your mic. So, for example, in the past, in 1993, and for example, 2017, okay, in 1997, okay? So all of those keywords, all of those clues tell us that you have to use simple past, okay? All of those words, last year, last month, last week, yesterday, in the past, in 1994, for example, in 2017, in 2018. So all of those clues tells us that you have to use simple past, okay? So we use simple past to talk about actions, activities that happened in the past, okay, student?
Okay.
Good.
Okay.
Now let's move to talk about how to use simple past. How to use simple past? We know when to use simple past, and now you have to know how to use simple past. You have to know how to use simple past in the positive sentence, how to use simple past to make a negative sentence, how to use simple past to make a question or interrogative sentence. Okay, student? So,
Okay.
here we have in the positive sentence, in the affirmative sentence, what does affirmative or positive sentence mean? The affirmative or positive sentence means that the sentence that does not contain a negative, does not contain, for example, not, and does not contain question, okay? So this is the positive sentence. الجملة الخالية من النفي أو السؤال, okay? Affirmative sentence. جملة مثبتة, okay? So how to make a positive sentence, affirmative sentence in the simple past? We use the subject and verb to. We all know verb to, right? Do you know
Right.
verb to? Good, excellent. So we use subject and verb to, okay? For example,
Okay.
he met his wife 6 years ago. He met. So meet in the past form and met in the past tense. So met is verb to, okay? So verb to, okay?
Okay.
Washed, also verb 2. Went, verb 2. Okay. Had, verb 2. Okay. Became, verb 2. Bought, verb 2. Studied, graduated. Okay. So all of those verbs are in verb 2. Okay. So we use subject and verb to make positive sentence. He met his wife 6 years ago. So 6 years ago is a key word that tells us that this sentence in the past. So here you have to use verb 2. He met, verb 2, okay? They watched a movie yesterday. Yesterday is a key word that tells us that you have to use simple past. So here we have washed. Washed in simple past, okay? They washed, okay, student? So in this way, you can make a positive sentence in the past tense, okay?
Okay.
Good. Now let's move to know how to make a negative sentence in the past tense. In the past tense, how to make a negative sentence. Before we start, what is the negative sentence? The negative sentence is the sentence that has not, okay? الجملة اللي بتحتوي على نفي, okay? So, to make a sentence that have a negative form, you have to use didn't, okay? You have to use didn't, okay? So we use subject, didn't, and look here. We have verb 1. Can you see it? We use verb
Yes.
1.
In affirmative sentence, we use verb 2.
Yeah.
But in negative sentence, we use verb 1.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So, just 1 second. Okay. So, in the negative form, we use subject, didn't, and verb 1. ليش استخدمنا verb 1؟ لأنه معنى didn't أخذت التأثير, right? So when we have didn't, so you have to write verb 1, base form, okay? Infinitive verb, okay? You have to use verb 1, infinitive verb. Why? Because we have didn't. And after didn't, you have to use infinitive verb 1. Okay, student? Look here. She didn't study in the library. She didn't study. Here we have negative sentence, okay? Here we have negative sentence. Please turn off your mic and listen to me carefully. Turn off your mic and listen to me carefully. Okay, students? So, she didn't study in the library. Can you see? We use didn't, negative. So we use didn't and we use study. So study is infinitive verb. Study is infinitive base form. Study is in the verb 1. Okay, didn't, verb 1. Okay, another example. The police didn't find any clues. The police didn't find. Here we have negative. That's why we use didn't. Okay, didn't find. Can you see? This is what? Infinitive verb. Infinitive verb. Verb 1. Base form. Okay. So after didn't, you have to use what? Infinitive verb, verb 1, base form, okay? فعل مجرد خالي من أي زيادة, okay student? So, how to use a simple past to make an interrogative question? How to make interrogative question using simple past. Look here, we have what? We have did in the beginning, then subject, and then what? Verb 1, okay? So here we have what? We have did, subject and verb 1. So look, here also we use verb 1. Here also, why? Because we have did, okay? We have did. And here you don't need to use verb 2 لأنه did أخبرتنا إنه الزمن ماضي، أوكي؟ لما نشوف did أكيد إحنا بنعرف إنه الزمن ماضي. So we use infinitive، أوكي؟ did أخذت التأثير، أوكي؟ That's why we use verb infinitive. But look here we have positive verb 2 in the negative, and in the interrogative question you have to use verb 1 because we have did, okay, student? So now let's move to have examples, okay? Now, let's see this picture. Now, those are examples how to make affirmative, negative, and interrogative in the past tense, okay? Look. I lived in London. Can you see? I lived in London. To make it negative, look, I didn't or did not live in London. Can you see? Here we have verb 2, but here we have verb infinitive. Because why? Because we use didn't, okay? Because we have didn't. So we use verb 1. So I lived in London. I didn't live in London, okay? Can you see the difference? Here we have verb 2, here we have did not, and verb infinitive verb, okay? So to make interrogative question, here we start with using did, then the subject and verb infinitive, okay? To make interrogative question, in the past tense, you have to start with did, subject, verb infinitive. Did I live in London? And don't forget the question mark, okay? Don't forget the question mark. Did I live, verb infinitive, in London? Did I live in London? So we use verb infinitive because we have did, okay, student? Now, look here, look to the subject. Can you notice? I, you, he, she, it, we, you, they. Also here, the same thing. Also here, the same thing. So can you notice that there is no difference in the using of the affirmative or the negative form? There is no difference. شو ما كان السبجكت ما بيتغير verb 2. شو ما كان السبجكت ما بتتغير didn't and not, infinitive. شو ما كان السبجكت here ما بتتغير did والinfinitive والquestion mark. Can you notice that? So أي subject عندنا إياه ما بتتغير القاعدة، ما بتتأثر القاعدة. In the affirmative we use subject, verb to, complement. In the negative we use subject, did not, verb infinitive, complement. In the interrogative we use did, subject, verb infinitive, complement, and the question mark. Okay, student?
Okay.
Good. Now let's move to have also questions, examples, sorry, here, okay? So here we have examples of a positive sentence, negative, and the question in the past tense. Here also, he met his wife 6 years ago. So here 6 years ago, and this is a keyword that tells us that the sentence in the past tense, okay? Okay, so here, for example, yesterday, also yesterday, here we have ago. So, أكيد مش بالضرورة يكونوا موجودين، بس هدول بيساعدوا إنه لما نشوفهم نعرف إنه الزمن الجاي هو past, okay? بنعرف إنه زمن الجملة اللي هو الباست، بس مش بالضرورة يكونوا بكل جملة. أوكي؟ So look here. He met his wife. So past we use verb to. I graduated from the university. So also here we use simple past verb to. They watched movie yesterday. Also here simple past. That's why we use verb to. You went to the bed early. Verb to. He studied in the library. Verb to. They had dinner last night. Also verb to. Can you see? Here we have felt, made, found, and became. Okay, so look here. What can you notice? Can you notice that some of those verbs have ed and other that
Regular
don't have
verb.
ed, okay? And others don't have ed, okay? So here we have in verb two form. I know that all of you know those two forms, regular and irregular, okay? So with the regular, we add ed, graduated, watched, studied, okay? So some of verbs in simple past are regular, and in regular form we add ed, and others don't have a regular form, so we call that irregular verb. Okay, الirregular بيحدث تغير على الفعل، ممكن انه نشيل منه حرف meet met، ممكن إن هالكلمة كلها تتغير go went غيرناها كليا، have had غيرناها كليا، feel felt غيرنا أحرف منها. أوكي زدنا لها تي. make made غيرنا حرف. find found become became. So those are irregular verb, okay? Irregular. But in the irregular verb we add ed. بالregular كتير سهل بنضيف لهم ed. But in the irregular بدنا نحفظهم حفظ إن شاء الله خلال هاي الفصل اللي هو بيحدث تغيير على الشكل أو لفظ الverb, okay? So in the regular form we add ed to the verb. In the irregular verb, we change some of the letters, we change the spelling, we change the pronunciation. منغير اللفظ، منغير الكتابة، منبدل الأحرف مع بعضها. Okay, so to know more about the irregular verb راح نحفظهم خلال الفصل. Okay, so the negative, we talked about this. Didn't, infinitive, didn't, infinitive, didn't, infinitive. Didn't meet, didn't graduate, didn't watch, didn't go, didn't study, didn't have, didn't find, didn't become, didn't feel, didn't make. So after didn't, we use infinitive. Can you notice that? We use infinitive after didn't. Okay? To make it a question,
Okay.
to make it a question, we use did in the beginning, then subject and verb infinitive. And verb what? Verb infinitive. Okay, student? So, look, did he feel sad yesterday? We use feel, not felt. Did they watch? Also infinitive. Did he meet? Infinitive. Did she study? Infinitive. Did the police find? Infinitive. Did we make? Infinitive. Did you go? Infinitive. Did they have? Infinitive. Did I graduate? Infinitive. And did I become? Infinitive. Okay? So, let's repeat. خلينا نعيد الفكرة العامة من القاعدة. So to make it positive, you have to use subject, verb to, complement. Verb to the verb to in the past tense is either regular or irregular, okay? In the regular, we add ed. In the irregular, we have some changes that happened in the verb, okay? In the positive form. In the negative, we use didn't, verb, infinitive. Didn't, verb, infinitive. Subject, didn't, and infinitive verb. So in the question, we use did, subject, verb, infinitive, complement, and don't forget the question mark, the most important thing. Okay, student?
Okay.
Okay, can you notice the difference between regular and irregular verb? Can you notice between the regular and irregular verb? Regular, we add ed. And
Yes.
irregular,
Yes, yes.
good, excellent. So we will talk about regular and irregular more during this semester. رح ناخد أمثلة كثير ورح نحفظهم ورح نميزهم. Okay, student?
بس القاعدة سهلة.
اوكي هي سهله بس بدها انتباه للانفينيتيف وانتباه للديفرنس between regular and irregular. Okay, student? Now let's move to something here. So we talked about the regular, so we add ed to the regular verb, right? حكينا إنه الverb to in the regular form we add ed. الverb لما يكون في past لما يكون regular بنضيف له ed. Okay, so let's know the pronunciation of the word ending in ed. Okay, ending ed, how to pronounce the ed in the regular verb. كيف بدنا نلفظ هاي ال ed بالregular verb؟ صح حكينا بنضيف ed في الregular verb. طب كيف بدنا نلفظها؟ We have 3 pronunciations for the ed. ed, ta, and da. Okay, ed, ta, and da. Okay, so when to pronounce it, id, when the last letter in the verb is T or D. إذا بنتهي الفيرب بحرف أوكي بحرف الT أو الD بنلفظها id. لما ينتهي الفيرب want the last letter T, need the last letter D. لما ينتهي الفيرب ب-T أو D we pronounce ed, ed, like wanted, wanted. So can you notice? I pronounce it id. Okay, can you notice that? Wanted, needed. Can you notice the last letter D? So id, I have to pronounce it id. Needed, wanted. Okay, student?
Okay,
so
teacher.
the last letter of the verb T or D, we pronounce it it. Okay, we pronounce it it. Wanted and needed. Okay, student? So when the last letter of the verb P, help, K, luck, F, Smith, F, also GHF, laugh, H, wash, H, watch, S, kiss, also S, dance, but and when we use C, dance, X. Okay, when the verb ends with those letters, we pronounce ed, ta. Helped, looked, listen carefully, helped, looked, sniffed, laughed, washed, also washed, kissed, danced, fixed. Can you notice? I pronounce ED. Can you notice? لفظتها T. When the verb ends with P, K, F, F, H, H, S, and X. So I pronounce ED, it, okay? So,
Okay.
good, excellent. When the verb ends with those letters, okay? L, M, cool, L, clean, N, offer, R, damage, edge, okay? Love, okay? V, use, is, use, not S. This is S. This is S, but it pronounced Z, use, okay? هي بنكتبها S لكن تلفظ Z, use. Amaze, Z, okay? B, rub, M, climb, okay? Or claim, sorry, claim, okay? When the verb end with those letters, we pronounce ed, ed, okay? The, cold, offered, offered, cleaned, damaged, loved, used, amazed, rubbed, claimed. So I pronounce ed, ed, okay? Da, okay? So هدول الأحرف بنسميهم voiced وهدول الأحرف بنسميهم voiceless، أوكي؟ هلا بنسميهم voiced لسبب ما صغير، أنتوا صغار لحتى تعرفوا، أوكي؟ أو إذا رجعنا إن شاء الله على المدرسة راح أعلمكم ليش سميناه voiced، لأنه لازم أنا أكون قدامكم وألفظ الحرف وأعلمكم كيف بطلع، من وين بطلع، أوكي؟ وكمان الفويسلس نفس الإشي، راح أعلمكم كيف بطلع، أوكي؟ بس هو هذا الشغلة مش مطلوبة منكم تعرفوها بهذا العمر، تمام؟ بس بدنا نعرف إنه لما الفعل ينتهي ب P, K, F, H, S, and X, you have to pronounce ED, it, like helped, looked, loved, watched, washed, kissed, danced, and fixed. We pronounce EDT. When the verb ends with L, M, R, G, V, S, Z, B, and you have to pronounce ED, da, okay? Cold, cleaned, offered, damaged, loved, used, amazed, rubbed, and claimed, okay? And when the verb ends with T or D, you have to pronounce ed, id, wanted, needed. Can you notice? Wanted and needed, okay? So, the pronunciation of words ending in the ed depends on the final consonant. نطق ال ed بيعتمد على الحرف الأخير. Here we have three words, id, ta, and da, okay? Depending on what? On the last letter of the verb. بيعتمد على آخر حرف في كل verb, okay? فبليز هدول نحفظهم حتى نميز النطق. Okay, student? Okay, student?
Okay.
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 إن شاء الله المرة الجاية رح نرجع نعيد القاعدة. هلأ هاي الفكرة العامة من القاعدة بتمنى إنها تكون وصلت لكم بشكل واضح. I wish that you had a good idea about simple past and about regular and irregular verb and how to pronounce ed in the regular verb, okay? So هاي هي الفكرة العامة إن شاء الله. هاي القاعدة راح تضل معنا طول الموديل 4 سوري أوكي. راح نضل نناقشها وناخذ عليها تمارين وأسئلة وأنشطة طول الوحدة أوكي student. So next time راح نرجع نعيدها، راح نرجع نتحدث عنها. Do you have any question now? Do you have any comment? Do you have anything you want to ask or to talk about?
No.
Sure, do you have any question? Sure, if you have any question, turn on your mic and ask me whatever you want.
Oh no.
Sure?
Yes.
Good, excellent. So next time we are going to have a review about this rule, about the simple past, about how to distinguish between a regular and the irregular verb, and how to pronounce ed in the regular verb. We will have review. رح نعمل مراجعة سريعة للقاعدة تاعت اليوم. And please, we are going to discuss page 45 from your student book. رح نناقش أو نحل تمارين يلي page 45 from your student book. Okay, students? So please prepare very well. Okay, and if you have any question, just let me know and ask me whatever you want. Okay, students? Okay. Okay. So see you next time. This is the end of our class for today. So see you next time and have a nice day. Now goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. يعطيك العافية يا مس.
الله يعافيك ويا رب. يلا باي باي.
باي.